It's 8th of August 2013. Just on BBC website. It's the birth rates. There's a thing about birth rates, isn't there? And I'll just give you a quick rundown. I mean, I haven't found any that don't feel like this. Anyway, 393, John 11 2 DK. Oops, it's that elephant in the room again. Normally, the BBC and central government is only too keen to tell us in great detail the ethnic composition of any phenomenon, but for some unknown reason, they appear unable to give statistics on the ethnic breakdown of all these births. Let's be clear, that data is collected for every hospital admission. And we've got 220, real mystery. The UK population grew by 419,900 from 2011 to 2012. Well, that's obviously government, isn't it? And he says at the bottom, these are the legal ones. How many illegal ones are there on top? Yeah, anyway. Then 94, Empire Down. Muslims, like other religions, have high birth rates because they do not believe the world is finite or even real, except as a manifestation of the divine will. Their holy texts are real, but not the exponential function or the actual demographics of a situation. Wow. 488, Simon Hare. We don't need to guess where the majority of these births are coming from, given that the most popular name for a baby boy in the UK currently is Mohammed. I really do fear for future generations. Our politicians will not be happy until we are a third world country. Right, we've got an editor's pick here, right? 929. Those who believe that an ever-growing population is desirable in order to fund public services were not paying attention in any mathematical lessons they ever attended. Oh, that's not bad for an editor's pick, is it? 525. I can't believe most of the population growth is here in London and the South East. Come to Shadwell and Whitechapel and see the pram jams. But it's not the British who are multiplying. 473. I like how it shows two little white girls in the posted picture. What percent of these births are actually white children? That's a question, not a comment. 475. My wife had our second child 3 weeks ago, and the maternity ward was half full with African, Asian, and Eastern European women and their newborns. Plenty of NHS leaflets there in Urdu, Arabic, etc. to advise these new mothers too. This isn't DM hysteria like the Liberals like to dismiss it as. It's the plain truth. Congratulations to Blair and the New Labour project. Their hidden agenda has worked. 411. We used to have red squirrels. The grey ones got rid of them. Need I say more? We had red squirrels, and we let loads of grey squirrels in who bred like fuck. And now we ain't got any red squirrels. I like that. That's a good analogy, that. 155. His name's England is Ruined. Is anyone surprised by this? Tony Blair and Gordon Brown open up the country to the rest of the world to bolster its voting base. Immigrants tend to have more children more often that not rely on state. More often. So immigrants tend to have more children and more often than not rely on state benefits. Our borders need to be closed now. Yeah, spot on. 47. Cue the end of the NHS, welfare and many other services which are strained. We cannot go on as we are without our services becoming even more buckled, or in massive social unrest and political extremism. What, wanting the immigrants to go isn't... Anyway, badly thought out migration and a benefit system that encourages large families and a failure to tackle mass immigration. Westminsters are stupid. 288. Right, so reply to 208. How do you know they are Eastern Europeans? By using my eyes and ears for a start. Alright. So many giveaways, but not speaking English well or having a heavy accent are usually good indicators. Sorry, I don't consider myself racist, having worked with friends with people of colours or religions, etc. from. It's not racist, it's called saying what you see. Right, I see. I know a Polish lady who cleans houses for cash in hand. She told me this herself. She had a child as she knew it would escalate her up the council waiting list. The mum came here as she was retired and got a flat and a pension. They have never paid in. It makes my blood boil. If you don't pay in, you shouldn't get anything out. This is very, very bad news. That's from 41. 37. Oh, comment removed. Obviously, he was a bit whatever. Maybe he was racist. Oh, the most popular names in UK for baby boys 2007, as reported by the BBC. Jack, Mohammed, and Thomas. That were in 2007, though. You know. So I don't know what that's telling me. 403. Cat benefits at 2 kids. Ooh, 531. Lefties throwing the race card out like confetti when someone calls immigration into the argument should be ashamed. Crying racist when it is obviously not racist makes it much harder to tackle the issue of racism. What do people do not understand? No, what do people not understand about that? Oh, sorry. Makes it much harder to tackle the issue of racism. What do people not understand about that? People try to make racism about power or something. Fact is, racism is prejudiced against a race. Immigration debate isn't that. Innocent. 513. None of the 7 highest rated comments has been selected by the editor. Whether or not you agree with these comments, this is not balanced reported. Beyond or BBC would never produce this data broken down by ethnicity because the bleeding heart liberals, PC Brigade, will cry racist. We know immigration is a large, major problem for this country, utilising scant resources, but they who govern over us, mere plebs, say that. What goes? We know immigration is a major problem for this country, utilising scant resources, but they who govern over us, mere plebs, say what goes. We know the truth. I'm amazed the BBC ran this story because anyone living in the city knows exactly the reason for the explosion. We don't need the ONS to tell us. I, for one, don't want to be a minority in my own country. I don't want certain religious groups seeking and gaining political power, but we seem locked in an open-door mess through EU and domestic laws and media bullying. How do we stop this steamroller? Yeah, how do we stop it? Maybe we could ask the peaceful people to go away. But I mean, they wouldn't, would they? They'd fight to the death to stay here, because that's how peaceful they are. Anyway, something needs doing. There needs to be a clear advantage for the indigenous population to replace numbers and a clear disadvantage for newcomers who are diluting our society, progressive heritage, our culture and our national identity. There is nothing good about honour killings, subjugation of women's rights and so forth. Nothing good about alien crime gangs of the inner cities. Labour wanted to rub the Tories' noses in multiculturalism. Here is the result. Yep. We are a sinking ship and we know why. This is unsustainable. Give us the real stats, the ones we should be told. Net this, net that is a cover-up. How many British-born are people leaving? How many British-born are people leaving and why? That would be a good stat to know. If we voice concern and try to protect our country, we Brits are called racist. Well, I'm a racist then. Live with that. I have to. And yet people, liberals and left, wonder why the NHS and our general infrastructure is under such pressure these days. 427. How typical. The editor's comments are all nicely selected in favour of pro-immigration, and those who would consider the rest little Englanders, despite the fact the most favourite comment are those pointing out the obvious fact this must be something to do with mass immigration and failing multicultural policy. And some people wonder why I vote UKIP. Come on, wake up, he says. 428. Wobbly cogs. That's a funny name, isn't it? One of the biggest problems facing humanity is population growth, and no one is talking about it for fear of being labelled a racist. Everyone sees it's a problem, but rather than tackle it, we put our head in the population just magically levelled off in 20 whatever. Yes, the population will level off because we'll run out of food and people will starve and there'll be wars over water and land. Yeah, you're right, mate. There will. It's gonna be brilliant next year when there's no food. Are the BBC moderators aware of what is racist and what isn't? Do they understand what freedom of speech is? They seem to want to control over everything that we can see or say. Very careful, moderators. You're treading a thin line. My post had a large number of had suddenly been removed. All I did was speak the truth and the facts of working around the elephant and castle. It's exactly this type of moderation that means my comment must be true. Blimey, I think that's the first time I've seen a photo of white children on a BBC News page for a long time. Oh yeah, that's because it's a negative story. Immigration is colonization. It's just once people went one way for gold, spices, tea, etc., and now they come in the other way for benefits, free healthcare and free houses. Yep, the big difference is the UK is already full. The usual tired insults from the PC smug DM reader, little English Englander, racism, etc., is being concerned about the unsubstainable of mass immigration and the favouritism shown to them over the existing population is racist. Well, so be it. At least I'm living in the real world and not some fairy tale utopia. My comment was removed because mentioning Muslim immigrants having far more children than white non-Muslims does not conform with the BBC's idea of political correctness. And how many of those births would pass what John Major called the cricket test? In other words, how many will grow up thinking of Britain as home instead of another country? That's the problem, isn't it? It's the fact that they think, well, they are Pakistani. Good news, a population rise is the single most significant element in driving economical growth. Good news, if you sell nappies, etc., the increased birth rate of immigrants has swelled. London's birth rate, little enough work to be had without this eventual increase in the employment. Wow, how many comments has there been on this article? It doesn't say there anyway. A lot. I'll tell you what, I'm on page 4. I'm going to go to page 56. Right, 56. We're all descended from migrant groups who, come what may, were successful enough to have sufficient numbers of kids that at least one survive from each generation. You can't regulate. I could agree with many of the anti-immigration comments if they weren't obviously full of malice. The photo shows white babies. However, I expect, and correct me if I'm wrong, the increase is down to immigrant population. Correction, you're wrong, sorry, unless you want to present facts in support of your racism. When did we come so fearful that... When we saw that fucking guy getting his fucking head chopped off in London, mate, that's when we went, hang on a minute, is that a camel? Is that guy riding a camel? Wow. Well done, BBC. Another opportunity for them completely balanced and totally non-racist, of course. UKIP, BNP, Tory types to spark their diversity bile. Wow. I have to tell one truth to my English brothers, though it will be hard for them to digest. Have they ever thought why so many migrants from India subcontinent? Because they know basic English. So they thought it's easy to thrive in UK than in Germany or France. How do they know English? Because English ruled them for 400 plus years and treated them as slaves. No, that's great, isn't it? Brilliant. Time to stop being selfish and look after your fellow human beings. So more house building and social housing with fair rents. This would immediately create more jobs in the building trades. We need to give young families a chance, and at the very least, somewhere to live in privacy. Oh yeah. Too many people have second homes and just put everyone else down. Compassion. Great. Have 2 houses if you want. Have 5 houses if you want. Do you know what I mean? If you've worked all your life, save loads of money, right? You buy as many houses as you want. Looking at the number of ill-concealed racist views here, it might help if every racist was put on a ship out of this country. The SS Daily Mail, perhaps. We would lose millions. Yeah, that'd be great. I'll go as well, as long as we're all going to a white country somewhere. Looking at, I would, as long as, but I mean, where's that? Where is this magical white country anymore? You can't have kid. You can't have kid unless you can afford them. Does that mean that you agree with forced terminations for the poor? Wow, BBC, you must have known that anything. Wow, where are these people coming from? Where do they live? 'Cause I tell you what, every town I know has been swamped. Yeah, I really do feel like I'm on my own when I go into town. BBC, right? You must have known that anything to do with population would be latched onto by the xenophobes with their ludicrous, unfounded claims of swamping the indigenous population. What? Where does it? Oh, he obviously don't go into town. Do you know what I mean? That's 198 anyway, Steve. The fact is, the birth rate per woman in the UK is below 2, which means the reason why the population is growing is because people live longer, not because of more babies being born. Who cares about facts in UKIP? Do you know there were a thing, wasn't there, the other day, or maybe last week, so it's about where are all the 90-year-olds? They're dead because they went and had that flipping flu shot for 3 or 4 years on the trot and they all died. That's where all the 90-year-olds are. There ain't any because they're all dead. We're not living longer. It's a joke. Yeah, we have these pathways to death now. You know, they're not treating you when you get old anymore. The only reason people were living so long at old age was because of all the medication they were getting. There ain't going to be any medication. Yeah,